drop them down, and then we flip the lever here to let these guys finish getting zombificated, and you'll know it's done when you no longer hear the sound of villagers suffering. It's basically the best way to put it, I think. And once everybody's zombified, we flip that lever down. Now our minecarts come into play, and they automatically take our zombie villagers and cart them over that direction into nice little neat stalls for us to convert back into villagers in just a moment. And we've conveniently got a golden apple dispenser here. It will give us 24 golden apples. And then we can go ahead and convert these guys back into villagers just like this. And once everybody's converted, we just press these buttons right here to push them off wherever they need to go. And then once all the villagers have been released back to wherever they need to be, the system will reset itself. Just like that. So before we get started, a quick word on rails and the way they curve and are powered and all that kind of stuff. Because this build relies on these rails being powered in their default state. These rails right here are powered. They default to either the north or the west. And when they're unpowered, they default to the south and to the east. So that's why you need to feed your villagers in from the north or from the west. This conversion chamber can go anywhere you want it to, as long as you come in from the north or from the west. And with that, we are officially ready to build this thing. So to get started on this conversion chamber, I've marked where I want my villager to stand with brown and where the zombie is going to stand with purple. And so to get started here, I'm actually going to place a temporary block beneath where the villager is going to stand, come out this direction with a single redstone block. We're going to come down, delete our temporary block, and come 1, 2, 3 more. Place a dispenser facing upwards, and then another block angled upwards just like that. Now spin around to this other side and go ahead and put a hopper facing into that dispenser and a chest on top of that hopper. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and place our powered rails leading up from the dispenser to the redstone block. I'm going to throw another block over here. More powered rails coming from this direction now. Then place one powered rail on top and delete that back off. And you should have a setup. Looks a little something like this. Now we're going to spin back around to the front. Place a trap door on where the villager is going to stand. I'm going to place a temporary block with a dispenser on top of it facing that trap door. And then we're going to come up just like this. I'm going to place a couple of temporary blocks on top of where the zombie is going to stand to mark out kind of its space requirements. And then from here, we're going to come up an additional 5 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on either side. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, just like that. Go ahead and delete those temporary blocks back out. Now we're going to place trapdoors up to this point right here so that when we fold the top 2, we are level with that block right there. And we're going to fold the bottom 2 back up, leaving the middle trapdoor in that position right there. Last but not least, for the structure, we can go ahead and start placing in some glass. Just like that. One more thing to do on this structure here is we're actually going to come up 1, 2, 3 just like this. Delete those blocks back out, and then we're going to extend one direction, 1 block in this direction, and 2 in that direction so that we protect our zombified villagers from burning up in the sun at any point. Back at the front of this thing now, we're going to go ahead and start doing some redstone. Let's throw a lever above the dispenser and a button on top of that. Then we're going to swing back around here and place a block even with the dispenser so that we're taking in a repeater output from this lever into a sticky piston facing upwards with a block on top. And we're going to come one more like this. And we're going to angle up, also come down 1 and delete that block right there. And then come back from this piston, place a repeater and 1 redstone dust. And now coming off from this piece of redstone dust here, we're going to alternate temporary block, building block, temporary block, building block, then place blocks above and below our temporary blocks with one more block right next to the dispenser right there. We're going to delete our temporary blocks, come in with repeaters on 4 ticks, just like this. One more repeater going back toward our redstone dust on 4 ticks, then redstone dust here and here. And so now we have a little clock circuit that's going to run until we tell it to stop. And so now let's tell it when to stop. All right, so off of this block with our redstone, we're going to place a dropper with a hopper pointing into it, and then coming back toward the front of our structure here, we're going to place 2 blocks just like this and comparators on top of those. And then 2 blocks coming up like this, we're going to place hoppers beneath those facing into each other. And then we're going to take a comparator output from the hopper in the back that aligns with our hopper here. So place that comparator just like that. So that comparator reads that hopper. And we're going to come over and up one with a torch on top of that hopper, on top of that block to lock the hopper. Then observer, block, and then last but not least, we need a sticky piston just like that. The last thing we need to do for this little circuit over here is however many villagers you intend to zombify and convert at any given time, that is how many items you need to put in this dropper. I intend to do all, that's not what I meant to do, all 24 at a time. So I'm going to place 24 items into that dropper right there. And then in the hopper that aligns with that dropper, place 1 more item. Just like that. And back at the front now, we have 2 more quick things to do. Let me flip that up real quick. Thing number 1, we're going to go ahead and fill our dispenser, hopper, and chest here with minecarts. Just like that. And then off of this block right here, we're going to take a repeater output, like so, into a dropper. And then in this dropper, we're going to place all the golden apple we need. And that is this piece of the pie done, except for now we need to be able to stick a zombie of some sort into this hole right here. And of course, being in creative, I can just grab spawn egg. But whatever zombie you grab, you need to make sure it can hold a sharpness 5 iron sword. And also, it can't be a baby because it has to be able to look through that trapdoor right there. So you're gonna go away. There we go. So this guy is holding a sharpness 5 iron sword, and this is all finished up. Now on to the big boy. All right, to get started on this one, we're gonna come down 2 blocks from the end of where our rail is gonna be. Place a torch on top of that. Then we're going to come down and over one more block, place a temporary block here with another block right there. Then we're going to place a redstone repeater going into the block with the torch on it with a comparator behind that. Right here, we are going to place a dropper facing upwards, and we're going to place another temporary block here with blocks on top and below. We can delete that. We're going to place a redstone comparator here and here. And then lastly, for this little piece of it, we can place a dropper facing down into our other dropper. Just like that, you should have that shape right there. So next what we're going to do, we're going to come off the front of this repeater with a block, and come down and over one, place 1 more like so, and then come up just like that. And then in this spot right here, we're going to do another dropper facing up with a dropper facing down into that dropper, a comparator right here, a torch on the other side of this block. And then lastly, we're going to come and place a piece of redstone dust right there. And now that you've got all of this in place, we can go ahead and place items, one item each, in the top dropper here and the top dropper right there. So once you've got all of this in place, we can start to build the rail platforms. We're going to do that by starting on this corner block here, placing one more, and then coming up for a redstone block before continuing on. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, just like that. Place one on top of our dropper there, and then continue along just like that. Now let me grab my rails here, and we're going to place our rails, a powered rail against this block, a normal rail. We need a detector rail above our dropper, and then more powered rail coming onto the redstone block here. And then we're going to do, actually need to grab a half slab here. We're going to come off the top of this redstone block and place a slab. And then another solid block just like that. And we can continue our powered rails on up like this. And then on the other side of this redstone block, place one more powered rail like so. So you should have one angled up in either direction on the redstone block, and detector rail above your dropper, and a powered rail right here. We can go ahead and slap a button on that smooth stone right there. And so this is a completely one wide tileable system here. Let me swing around and get you a better shot of the... So this is a completely one wide tileable system here. So once you have this built once, continue it on down the line, for me, another 23 times. Okay, so now that you've got everything, all the rows filled in that you want, there's a couple more things to do real quick before we go on to the next phase of this build. First thing to do is come down to where we place this temporary block. You can now delete or place a block on top of that so that this comparator reads the dropper. And you can delete the temporary block, continue that all the way down. You also need to, on this very topmost block where we've got our rails slanting up, go ahead and place a lever and activate it on that back side and carry that all the way down. And then come over to your unpowered rail here and place a trap door and flip it up just like that and carry that all the way down. The next thing after the trapdoor will be to add 3 beds just like this. There is a 1 block gap above the rail in between this bed right here. And then last but not least, we need to add a roof to our system here so that the zombies don't burn up as they travel to their new, right there, as they travel to their new homes. You can place a roof just like that, and then continue all these elements: the lever, the trapdoor, the beds, and the roof, and that block down there, all the way down. Okay, so now that we have all of that in place, we are going to swing around to the back here, and we are going to set up a hopper chain to help us reset this whole system here. And so we need the hopper chain to travel this way along the comparators and come back this way, a block away from that. So we're going to start with a block right there. We're just going to place hoppers going in this direction, like so. Then we're going to swing around here and finish this off by placing hoppers in this other direction along the line of comparators there. Delete that block and place one last hopper right there. Then we're going to come around like so to this block right here. And then we're going to count. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And place one more block right there. Redstone torch here. We're going to go dust all the way back to this torch over here. What this is saying is that all of these torches here are functioning as one large AND gate that then produces a signal and unlocks this hopper and resets the rail system that we are about to build right now. The last thing we need to do is place rails here and here and curve them so that they deliver a zombie villager from that end all the way down here and curve the way they need to go. The way we're going to do that is by placing a rail here and one off in that direction. Now we're going to delete that and we're going to do the opposite from this point forward. So we're going to place a rail 1 away so there's a gap, and then place one more so that it curves the way we want it to, and delete. Place 2 and delete. Skip 1, place 2, delete, and we're going to do that all the way down. And then we're also going to do that same thing on the top row here. We're going to start with these two, and we're going to skip 1, place 1, come back and delete it, skip 1, place 2, delete. Do this all the way down for both sets of rails here. And then once you get to the end down here where you're just about to be done and you've got one left to do and you run out here, the last thing to do is to go ahead and connect the rail from our conversion chamber here on over to these curved rails. And I'm actually going to throw a redstone block right here with a rail there, and then some more powered rail coming just to this point. Then we finish off the same way we've been doing it. Place one away with a gap. And then we can do something similar up here. You know, something just kind of like this. Go ahead and place your powered rail to this point. And then go ahead and curve that last rail right in. And you can take this end and direct it wherever you need to go. Whatever spot you're going to be storing your villagers. Maybe it's a new library or a fishing mart, something like that. Your trading hall. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this really useful, and I hope it is useful to you in your world. If you liked the video, please do leave a like. If you want to see more stuff just like this, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you in the next video. See ya.